The afterlife. Our lawyer never heard such a thing. In the parking lot with masks, my wife and I were completing our wills. It was hot, and this was during the high watermark of the dark pestilence. No, not Trump's first premiership, COVID. I said seriously, like a prenuptial, something legally binding, but for the afterlife, a death nuptial. He was flustered. We had to explain our wishes. My wife wanted to be buried, and I requested a Viking burial atop a wooden skiff on a lake, or how Shelley was cremated on the beach in Italy, or like, Darth Vader in Star Wars, but he told me, couldn't do that. That makes sense. But I heard about a natural burial where they use no embalming fluids, or they cut legs to fit in a overpriced painted box for a few hours. Are you trying to encourage the worms with that weak fortress? But I was thinking, seriously, if the great pestilence does condemn all progressive to the shades, one party to rule them all, where will I spend eternity with Mary Jane? Could my remains be placed in my beer stein? Could she be buried with my ashes in one of my ornamental gardening pots or worm composters? Could I just be kind of like sprinkled over her like an ash blanket? Or, could my remains be placed in her... Wait, no, gorilla, stop. That's the word used when my humor creeps up to the borders of the deep cringe. Then I thought, seriously again, before signing our wills, asserting my will in the world, what happens if we do not die at the same time? Now, that's horrible. Think of the double cost. But what if my wife remarries some rummy named Seamus from Cork? My ashes could be interned in New Jersey, and where in the hell is my lovely wife? Buried in the Emerald Isle with some gorgeous Irish poet, a true salt in the soul, with sheep grazing on grass from her blessed remains. What rot! But what if she marries someone named Nathan Winston Cartwright III, a wealthy, dashing older gentleman from Greenwich, Connecticut, and she's buried with him too? Come now, chap, push off, you tough. Do I want to commingle with Mary Jane in heaven with Seamus or Nathan? I'm not into polyamorism or these modern ways of love. Crazy. That's insane. Think about my daughters. They come to pay respects to dear Mom and Pa, Mary Jane and Walter, and Nathan? In a death nuptial, my wife and I could explicate in detail, in summa, our wishes for another future, if they so wish to marry Mary Jane. Now, I was blessed, truly, and damn fortunate that Mary Jane married me. I was a rescue man, and could I ever be that lucky again? No. I'd either be a Jesuit or a major player, for the over 60 rugby league as a flanker. But if some attractive librarian, not a writer, I'm too competitive and insecure, who loves books, wants to marry me after years of me crying and writing poetry to Mary Jane, then Marion, the librarian, would have to consent to be buried or cremated somewhere near me, or more likely on another continent far away from my lunacy. But not next to Mary Jane and me. What God has fused, let no Irishman or librarian separate. But I will concede, the burial, let's say, could be in the same, section or region or vicinity of no less than 50 meters. Remains travel. Ironically, consider the runoff. That's circa 164 feet. Enough space? I think it's okay. My lawyer, looking at his watch, fully masked, expiring and perspiring for my explanation, insisted such a thing, quote, did not exist. The problem was not even with my lawyer, who's a really nice guy. It was with my wife. She would not sign the thing. What? Does she care little for our afterlife memorial? Sure, we'll be dead, but think of the optics. Here lies Mary Jane, her husband, Seamus, Insanus, a Seamus, and her lesser half, Walter. Preposterous. I told my wife she didn't know what she'd be signing unless I wrote a legal copy. So that's my plan. I'll write it in legalese, make changes as needed, minus the Edwardian affectations that all parties can agree upon. So if Seamus or Nathan want to marry my wife after my earthly departure, they must sign the death nup, promising to love her in life, but in death, she's next to me in eternity. In heaven, I'll give that dash Seamus or Nathan a Tuesday. If I like them, especially Seamus, as he seems my type, maybe a round of golf and a few pints of stout on Thursday and Friday, comparing notes. But he can't hold hands with Mary Jane. What a jolly row that would cause. No fights in heaven. A friend said I was crazy. You're both dead. It doesn't matter. The optics, man. The optics. After 30 years of marriage, do I want to be replaced with a late-coming blighter to the party? Dash it. Especially if he's wealthier, saner, more dashing, has an Irish accent, loves Scottish terriers, and doesn't make foolhardy requests about death nups. It could be a new avenue of revenue for lawyers. Can you say, ka-ching?